Hello there. Thanks so much for joining us for episode 33 of the Long Comics Bookclub, a bi-weekly podcast about long comics, also known as manga and graphic novels. My name is Shane and I'm the older brother. I'm joined by Spence, the younger brother. Spence, would you consider yourself a trickster, a mischief maker, a prankster of sorts, if you will?
I don't go. Is that? I don't know where this is going, but sure.
Or perhaps you try to keep your pranks mostly
Oh
centered
yes.
around
Ah yes.
the infamous April Fool's Day,
Yes.
April 1st.
April Fool's Day.
April
April
Fool's Day. And
Fools.
there's no better way to get someone with an April Fool's joke than before April Fool's. They'll never see it coming.
Well, to be fair, there was no episode. It was either do this on the 2 days before April Fool's Day or like 10 days after. So
It's true. So, this is as close as we get to April Fool's Day. And so, what better opportunity to have a little bit of a prank of a graphic novel? Because today, Spence has requested, and I have read the infamous Final Crisis based in the DC universe. That is our long comic of the day that we are going to be talking about for our book club, Final Crisis. We are going to be working through this 370 page something comic book series, comic crossover summation of an era of DC.
yeah. One of DC's famous crises that they do every so often.
one, one of, but and this is the final one though, so it's important to know this is the
Uh,
final one. They
it
didn't
is
do
the final
any after
one
that. They didn't
for
couldn't have
now.
done any.
I'm,
No,
I'm just
this is the
saying.
final one for now.
DCKO ends with Darkseid going soon. It will be the absolute crisis.
No, oh my god, oh no. Okay, well,
Well, but
that's
that's for later.
depressing.
We're going into that later.
So that maybe takes a little bit of heft out of the importance of this being the final crisis. But
Yeah.
nevertheless, this is our April Fool's Day graphic novel long comic, Final Crisis, written by Grant Morrison and J.G. Or no, written by Grant Morrison, also with art by J.G. Jones and Marco Rudy, and a whole bunch of different artists in here
Yeah, it
doing
was it was it was
penciling and
supposed to just be
inking.
J.G. Jones, but then apparently it got so long and complicated that they had to call in other people to do stuff.
Yeah, they had to cut him a break because yeah, it's a little bit of a lengthy one, that's for sure. So good that people jumped in to help support the poor guy. So we're going to be talking about the Final Crisis as our long comic for the book club. We're going to have some interesting discussion, book club style, with some fun facts, I'm sure, especially from Spence, and a recommendation if you haven't yet read the book to decide if it's worth picking up. And then for the second half of the show, we'll talk about some of our other recommended media that focuses on crossover events, multiple IPs colliding in a single space. And if there's some that we think are worth checking out, maybe some that are worth checking out if you know the IPs, maybe there's some that you don't know the IPs, but it's just that good of a crossover event that you should check it out anyways. And then to wrap up the show, of course, Spence will give us the recommendation for the next book club, which will be a manga. And that episode will be coming to you on April 11th, well past April Fool's Day. Hence the importance of getting this in. Get it in now before it's too late. Of course, at the top of the episode, I always want to give a big thank you to Vesperia Manga and Comics for providing today's long comic, by which I mean thank you, Spence, owner and proprietor of Vesperia, online at VesperiaComics.com, and physically located at 1935 West Broadway in Vancouver. Spence, any updates at the shop?
Yes, the Overstock sale we mentioned last time will be on
Hmm.
its last 3 days. You'll have 3 more days to do it.
Yeah.
By the time this comes out. So last chance. We've been sold a whole lot of used books, but there's still a whole lot more left. So
Get down there.
yeah,
You're running out of time. This
yeah,
is coming out on the
absolutely.
28th, so you only have a few more days to grab it before March is over, and that 50% sale is done. So I myself have already picked up a number of volumes of Jujutsu Kaisen for a sweet deal, and I was back and forth on getting in the whole set of Invincible,
Yeah.
but then someone else scooped it up. So good on
Yes.
them. That's a good choice. I was debating it, but I just spent like almost $1,000 at IKEA, so I didn't
Yeah.
think I
Fair.
could I couldn't drop
And
something more.
if you still we still do have the full run of Invincible, just not used. So no,
Oh, there you
no
go.
50% discount.
Hey, but it's still available if anyone
Yeah.
wants to pick up Invincible. Well, it's airing right now on Prime Video, the
Yeah.
graphic novel
Yeah.
version.
Fourth
And
season's about to start
well,
soon, right?
the what starts soon?
Fourth season's about to start.
It has
Whatever.
started. The first three
Oh,
episodes have dropped.
okay. Well, there you
Yeah, no, the time is now.
go.
Why not jump on and read ahead? And while you're online, whether you're on VesperiaComics.com or watching Invincible, navigate over to our social channels. Drop a follow on Instagram and Blue Sky at Long Comics Book Club, as well as follow our show on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, any or all of the above. And also, if you like the show, give us a rating. We're always keen to hear what people think of the show, and providing your thoughts and opinions in a positive manner on those platforms is very generous and appreciated. Of course, all of these links are on our link tree, including our Discord, which is the best place to join our growing book club community. So now, getting into the book club, because today we are talking about Final Crisis, and we haven't yet explained why this is an
Yeah.
April Fool's joke.
Yes. So you should ask me first. Why did
But
I pick?
Spence, why did you choose Final Crisis?
Yes. So April Fools, something that I don't know if we've ever really got into. One of the requests Shane makes whenever we're doing these is to make them like self-contained and not too requiring knowing extra knowledge outside of the book itself. Final Crisis is about as far from that as humanly possible, while also being simultaneously one of the most confusing things ever written.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that basically covers.
Boy.
You need a PhD in the DC Comics cosmology to make it to even have a chance of it making sense, and even then, good luck.
Yeah, what an absolute mess to read. So normally what we do on the show is we read standalone long comics, so standalone manga or graphic novels, or at least volume one, things that you're able to read in a vacuum and it still makes sense and it's still enjoyable as well, ideally.
Yeah.
This does not operate in a vacuum.
No.
We will get into that further as we move through the discussion, but as a heads up at the top of the episode, if you are not familiar with DC, do not read this. This will be a slog, to say the least. I
Yeah.
will give a specific shout out to some specific volumes in here. Some specific stories are
Yes.
actually pretty good as
Hey,
standalone.
hey,
But
the Batman story.
it's,
That part's
yeah.
really good.
There's also another one in here that I'll talk about in a few minutes. But
Yeah.
in general, just as a heads up in advance, yeah, boy. Well, I would say before we get into spoilers, but I don't think
Yeah, I
we
don't even think we like need to warn about
you don't need
spoilers.
to
If you don't
worry
know
about
what's happening,
spoilers.
like nothing we say could make this make any it could ruin it
Yeah,
for you.
this is probably one of the cruelest April Fool's pranks someone's ever done to me. Because I had to read the whole thing, and for sure I hit page 175. I was like, I have like another 200 to go. It's, but hey, there's some good. There is a few good parts in here,
Yeah.
few and far between.
Yeah,
But
and despite all of our mentioning about it being like impenetrable and ridiculously convoluted and having a bunch of like extended reading, it is still like a kind of interesting story.
we'll see about that. But
Yeah, well,
yeah, to do my best to I'm not even going to try to explain what happens in this story. I'm just going to read for those who are unfamiliar with Final Crisis what it says on the back to give you an idea of what we're dealing with here. What happens when evil triumphs? So the plot of Final Crisis, the anti-life equation, the ultimate weapon, a mathematical formula created by the Lord of Evil Darkseid that will overthrow reality and dispel the very concept of free will by enslaving all those exposed to it. Following the final battle of the new gods, Darkseid tumbles through time, coming to rest on Earth, where he gathers together a vast army of supervillains tasked to eliminate the greatest threats to his plan. Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, Batman, Superman, and many more of the universe's greatest heroes will be drawn into the most important battle they will ever face as time and space is sucked out of existence and the very fabric of reality is fading away. What an absolutely misleading
Yeah.
thing to put
Well,
on the
it's like
back of
Martian
this.
Manhunter dies like 5 pages in.
Immediately. Yeah. I was going to say, and what they're speaking about the final battle of the new gods, that's not even included in this. They
No, no,
don't
that
even
happens
mention
beforehand.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was not aware of that until I reached this, looked at the back of the book and went, wait. hold the phone.
Yeah.
So as we talk through this, I will say at the very front, so everyone doesn't have to worry. I'm not going to keep on asking, I don't understand, because we would spend forever
Yeah.
trying to explain all the things that are in here. What an absolute mess. So it obviously was extremely confusing for me. Why is it so convoluted for those that are familiar with the DC universe?
Because it's like incredibly weird and kind of meta in what's going on.
Hmm.
Like, it's not a straightforward. We'll use the most recent one as kind of an example. The most recent big crossover, which was DCKO, just finished.
Hmm.
DCKO actually has a kind of similar story where a bunch of superheroes have to come together and punch Darkseid. That's kind of their like default template for how big crossover events.
Hmm.
But this one goes into whole like metaverse like monitors and like story vampires and stuff like that. Like stuff that isn't just punching the bad guy.
Yeah, the that was when I started to get mad. Was when they talked about the vampire god that
Yeah.
eats
Maldek.
planets.
Well, no,
Mal
he does. He eats
something.
like stories.
Oh
Like he eats
gosh,
like the metafiction that we're reading is the idea.
Mandrak.
Mandrak. There we go.
Mandrak.
Yeah.
Do you know what's incredible about so Mandrak appears but essentially before Darkseid. So I thought Mandrak was actually going to be the villain for a second.
I think he kind of is because then he shows up at the end after they beat Darkseid.
Mm, deceptive though. The first time
Yes.
Mandrak appears, he's introduced and he's defeated 6 pages later.
Yeah.
Nice. Whoa. So this is a bizarre situation of there's way too much happening way too fast.
Yeah.
It is breakneck speed, and yet at the same time, it's so overwhelmingly confusing that it feels slow and nothing. It's hard to lock in onto what actually happened beyond. If I want to, if I'm going to try and simplify this as much as possible, which is essentially Darkseid bad guy enslaves
Yeah.
all realities, but then magical bullet fired by Batman that travels through time kills Darkseid, and everybody happy now, but Batman dead.
Yes. But then
That's
also but also so there's kind of like multiple stories. They're like is the first one with Superman in the alternate universe. Then there's Darkseid, like the people like Darkseid mind control stuff going.
Mhm.
And then we end off with like the last one. Like then it kind of all like comes together at the end in the slightest kind of technically all comes together at the end for the final finale.
Yeah. Um. Oh man, where to even start with this one? What a mess. So, you already sort of said this is not the final crisis. There are crises that happen after this. Why was this
Well,
called the final crisis?
well, because it is like the final. So they actually haven't called anything a crisis yet. It's the fact that the newest
Um,
one, like they basically teased some point in the next decade, there's going to have something called ultimate, absolute crisis is going to happen.
and what is a crisis specifically
So okay,
in the
so I guess
DC
this is
universe
probably
context?
something worth explaining. So DC Comics, it's been around since the 1930s. For most of their category, for from 1938 until 1985, they were like super loosey goosey with like rules or anything like that. We make comic books, we throw, who cares? They're all for kids. We throw characters in, who cares what's going on? This guy died a decade ago. Who cares? No one's who's still reading is doing any of that. And not like we'll have how do all our characters even fit in the same universe? Doesn't matter. For some reason, Batman's in this universe, stuff, whatever. 1985, they decide we're gonna like actually try to codify all of this, and we'll try to make all of our like we'll try to create one simple, straightforward universe. And they decided to like do it in universe in an event called the Crisis on Infinite Earths. And this is like a big event in 1985, and it ends with all the DC universes converging into one universe. And then big event, super successful. People kind of still talk about it now because it's also like the first big crossover event like this.
Mm.
And then as time goes on, things start getting complicated again. They just decide, you know what? Maybe we do like because despite the fact they got rid of all the alternate universes, they still kept characters like Ultraman and stuff, like still and like were writing Elseworld stories. So alternate universes still kind of existed. So then they had another event which was called Infinite Crisis, and that was the one that like recreated the universe. But then Infinite Crisis basically created a bunch of like issues with how certain stuff worked. And so like 3 years later, then they had Final Crisis, which was supposed to be like the one that like combines all the crises together to try to make like a stable system. That did not work because then 4 years later they have the New 52 and then Flashpoint and then until eventually after the big event called Doomsday Clock, their answer to all of this was don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
We
Like
give up.
we give up. Like if it doesn't quite make sense, it's because Dr. Manhattan did something in the past and moved something around, and it all works. Shut up.
Oh my God. Okay. I appreciate that summary. So crises in the DC universe are significant
Yes.
moments in the story that are meant to sort of restart the universe. Okay.
Yeah,
It is
and
helpful
like
to understand why
not
it's called
every
Final
moment
Crisis.
like that has a crisis, but like those three ones with crisis in their name are like considered like the three tentpoles.
Got it.
Because then
And
there's
so
also like
this
Zero
is
Hour and yeah,
really
Flashpoint.
showing their arrogance that they thought that it would be the final crisis.
Basically.
Do you think that they actually genuinely did each time? They're like, no, we've done it right this time. We
Um,
won't
I,
have to reboot it
um,
again.
they definitely thought about that for the first one. I don't. I'm pretty sure they have like confirmed they sort of knew they were going to have to do more with
Right. They just did.
Infinite Crisis.
God, so they're just trying to grab for a name. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that explains the name. It's a terrible name, obviously, because it's not the final crisis, but
Yeah.
also it adds way too much weight to it for something that didn't feel like it needed that much weight.
Yeah.
Because whenever there's like a story that sort of feels like it's going to be big and epic and a lot is gonna there's going to be a lot of loss and things that can't be undone, to just lose Batman and Martian Manhunter and also know that they're both likely going to come back
Well,
regardless. In fact,
Batman
Batman's
literally comes
teased
back
at the
at
end.
the end, which is a doubly funny thing too. Batman effectively died twice at the same time
Hmm.
because in the Batman comics they have a completely different reason why he dies. But then rather than
Oh.
dying at that point, he gets sent to like the alternate Dark Side universe.
Oh, of
So if you
course he
didn't
does.
read this, Batman would just die in like a normal way in the Batman comics.
Hmm. Poor Batman can't catch a break.
Yeah, it's called Batman Rip. It's actually a really good comic.
Yeah. I was surprised by the cover of this. So the cover of the Final Crisis shows a dead Batman in Superman's arms.
Yeah, in like red
Um,
moonlighting.
yeah. So clearly, immediately spoiled. Um,
Yeah.
was it a surprise? I guess is this just was
It's
this the
just
cover that was created later
uh,
for the omnibus, or was this
yes.
always the cover?
No, no, like yeah. So this was created specifically for this event. Like you can actually, I
Okay.
think the back. Actually, I don't know because you have like a Rob Eric copy. They have the back of the book has like the actual covers of what those comics were like.
Right.
So but then part of the problem is like comic books are terrible at keeping a secret. So like I'm sure people knew
Yeah.
Batman was going to die in this event like a month before it
Mhm.
actually happened.
Yeah. Well, the cover is very dramatic and it's very good art, so I don't hate the cover. I think
Yeah,
it's
you know
very
what? Art
eye-catching.
overall pretty good.
Yeah, the art overall is fine. I think it's sort of, again, we've talked before about like classic comic art. It's
Yeah,
very much in that camp. It's not, and again, it's not really doing anything interesting or exciting.
yeah,
It's there for the purpose of telling the story. I'm
yes.
currently reading Absolute Batman Volume 2, and therefore I am allowed to judge things like this on being unexciting because that again reminds me what you can do with art.
Yeah.
It's, whoa,
Absolute Batman Volume 2 is so good.
the art in that one is unreal, but I will not allow myself to go on a tangent about that one because I will absolutely dominate this conversation because that's what I want
Yeah.
to talk
But
about.
okay, you know what? Random tangent though, slightly related.
Mm,
There's like a popular fan theory slash joke going that goes that because you know the absolute universe is created by Darkseid. It's
no,
like
don't tell me that. That just makes it worse now.
well, no, because okay. I think I've actually explained this to you already at one point, but so
Uh,
normal DC universe, Superman's like the kingpin of it, like the
yeah.
central, like the nexus of which the universe
Yes,
surrounds.
I remember this.
Yeah, the absolute universe. It's those. It's dark. The dark side is the, and there's the
Mm,
fan theory slash joke that Darkseid is still so pissed off about Batman for killing him in Final Crisis. That's why he makes absolute Batman's life so miserable
yeah.
because he's having
Yeah.
Batman's having it so much worse than Wonder Woman and Superman.
Yeah.
So he's still
Yeah.
pissed off about
Batman
getting killed by.
cannot catch a break in
Yeah,
these. Yeah. Yeah. His is brutal. Okay. That's interesting.
yeah,
Something that you did mention that again, I don't want to do like a wait, explain that. So, Dr. Manhattan, famously from the Watchmen comic,
yes,
is in universe in DC.
yes. Now he is.
Oh my God. Because I was seeing these people and I was like, these are blue people with little targets on their head, just like Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
Is what is
Okay.
happening here?
Today, I guess
But
it
again,
was it
don't
was inevitable.
explain.
We're gonna have so many tangents on this.
Or-
So when Watchmen was created, it was based on a bunch of Charlton Comics characters. And the idea was like basically what happened. Alan Moore, brief summary: Alan Moore was asked to make a reboot of the Charlton Comics characters. And then when the story he put in was like a great, amazing story that like explained why they'd been gone for 5 years and like modern day takes on all of them. And DC Universe was like, this is amazing. We can't do this because we wanted to like reintroduce Charlton Comics characters. If we publish this, they're all going to die and we can't use them anymore. So what they did was they like took those characters, like remade, like changed their names, like same idea, general idea of characters, but changed them slightly.
what
And
is
the
a
character,
Charlton comic?
it was a old publisher that
Got
DC
it.
bought, and the
Okay.
character, one of the characters was named Captain Atom, and he became Doctor Manhattan. And then the guys in this are Captain Atoms, but like very much Captain Atoms based around to look even more like Doctor Manhattan.
Oh my God. Okay.
Actual
Got
Doctor
it.
Manhattan shows up in Doomsday Clock.
Oof. Okay. And to explain my heavy sigh was when Spence said Captain Atom because Captain Atom was a character in what I just read in Final Crisis, and he
Yeah,
is only one of many little blue, not little, many blue people.
yeah,
So now I'm like, wait, they're all Captain Atoms, but there is
yes.
one that is Captain
Yeah, all
Atom.
of them are Captain Atom because
All
they're
of them is,
claiming that
all
like
of
in
them
one of
is
the
Captain
universes, Captain Atom is the
lower.
Superman. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay. Right. So why is this such a nightmare to try and understand? What is it that they've done here that makes this so difficult to understand? Because I'm reading this and it's very text heavy. It I don't understand why they had to do multiple realities. Um there's so many characters in here.
Yes.
There's so many
The entire DC
characters.
universe shows up.
Yeah. That it really feels like how can you even possibly have enough rereading to be able to understand everything in this? It just feels like there's too much.
Yes, which I guess is another point that is always one of the biggest issues with these big crossover events is that like a bunch of characters main like there's a bunch of additional stuff that will go in more in depth into something that happened. Like
Mm,
why Mary Marvel is an evil dark side person and she's like more important than all the other ones. That's I'm sure that's explained heavily in the Shazam comic.
right. But
Yeah.
not in this one. And I
Nope.
didn't know who that was. I just thought her hair was crazy.
Yeah. Or like
That's
how did
weird.
Wonder Woman get captured? I'm sure that's explained in the Wonder Woman comics.
Yeah, this is what an absolute mess. And it also takes itself seriously,
Yes.
which it shouldn't do because there's one part where you have literal, they call themselves the Atomic Knights, and they're dressed as medieval knights, and they're riding what are called pony dogs, which are dogs the size of ponies.
Yes.
And they're fighting spandexed, weird pink punk hair, evil Mary Marvel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the death of art. This is everything I hate.
Wow. So I
I think
guess
it was especially them riding giant pony dogs. And I was
yeah.
like, why are you doing that?
Yeah, and
Though?
also like what's with the tiger people? I have no idea what's going on. I don't know why I'm asking you, because good God, you're not going to understand more than me. But like the tiger people, what's going on with
And then why is
those?
there one tiger person that betrays the other tiger people? And why does
Yeah.
he have a jetpack? I
Yeah.
had no idea. For sure, part of this, I just had to disassociate. And I
Yeah.
just was like, I'm just going to let this wash over me and it is
So,
going to be
so,
torture. But
so I guess the other interesting thing, so this was written by Grant Morrison,
yeah.
who wrote Absolute Superman, All-Star Superman.
Yeah.
So that's, I don't know,
Interesting. Okay.
similar level of like the comic book weirdness that Grant Morrison loves.
Okay. That's good to know. It's good to have a name of someone that I probably want to avoid who
Yeah.
clearly is a huge fan of this universe,
Yes.
but who maybe doesn't understand where to pull back and welcome other people in.
Yeah. Grant
Um,
Morrison loves his like weird interdimensional weirdness.
mhm. And so this, I mean, yeah, it's a lot of weirdness, that's for sure. But again, there are so in general, this is a mess. This is an insane what they're trying to do. And it feels like they felt like they had to try and close all these loops.
Mm.
Do you think that they did so? Do you feel like this is a good resolution? Is
No,
this
good God, no.
properly? Yeah, just
It ends with a
raises more
cliffhanger.
questions than answers. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and it's like, and like parts of it's like they brought back Barry Allen was a big thing for this event.
Mm,
You might have known. So Barry Allen had been dead since the original Crisis.
that's right.
So this was a big moment. It had been like 27, 22 years or something like that. Barry
Yeah.
Allen had been dead.
Those who are not familiar with Barry Allen is one of the Flashes. I learned
Yes.
that there is currently four Flashes, three.
It depends on how you define it.
Ah,
At
yikes! But
least three. There's been
at, at
at
least three.
least three people who have been like the Flash.
And I think
What?
what's upsetting for anyone that just generally knows the Flash is that you might not know the Flash can run so fast he can time travel.
Yeah.
It's just the worst thing in the world.
The Flash can run so fast he can fill in the blank.
Uh,
Like,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, you can. It's so ridiculous that he's just like. I'm like, what a mess. Why did they have to do that with his superpower?
Yeah.
Um,
Flash can outrun the personification. That's literally what he's doing. He's running the personification of death.
of Death, it turns out to be like a really weird black version of the
Black.
Flash on skis or something.
Yeah.
That was a weird
Like,
one.
I think that's based on one of the don't worry, actually, no, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
It's based on one of the other
don't know
new
about
gods.
that, but
And isn't that the funny part about this? The new gods like barely play a part.
do they play a part other than this Orion being like the catalyst
Getting
to all
killed.
this
And there's a
happening?
couple other little references, like they Granny Goodness is like is the one who possesses someone. Like some people get possessed and like
Oh yeah,
Mr. Miracle shows
they're
up at
new
some
god
point.
and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
that's
like
right.
so this was supposed to be the idea was supposed to be like this is how it's supposed to work. It didn't work out like this. It was supposed to be like the new gods were supposed to have disappeared since Infinite Crisis, and this brought them all back.
And what's a new god?
Okay, so the new gods were created by Jack
Wait, we're doing
Kirby.
that thing.
Yeah, the new gods were created by Jack Kirby in the 1960s to kind of be like the cosmology of DC. So like
Right.
Apocalypse and Dark. So there's the Apocalypse and New Genesis, and like evil gods come from Apocalypse. Good gods come from New Genesis. They have like really weird cosmic stuff going on in the 1960s or
Gotcha.
1970s.
And these, despite being gods, are not super strong. They
Yeah.
are. Mr. Miracle dies from a bullet
Yes.
accidentally
Yes.
fired by a child.
This is true. Yes.
The new. You
Yeah.
can't be
They're
that
like
strong.
small G gods.
Yeah, we go with the
Except for
small
Darkseid, who's like big G god of
Yeah,
evil.
apparently.
Like,
Okay. So, in general, this is a muck to read. There
Yeah.
are exceptions to this. For
Yes.
those that are curious, if you want to read something involved with this story, I will give 3 stories in here credit for being good.
Oh.
The one that Spence already mentioned is The Butler Did It, part
Yes,
1 and part 2.
which was two volumes, so or
Yeah.
two issues originally. It's great,
2 issues.
incredibly self-contained story about Batman being like people in Batman's head trying to like steal what makes him Batman, figure out his mind control powers, and him fighting back. It's
Yeah.
very good.
What I thought was very good is that even though it is all about things that have are related to Batman and Batman's storylines, I didn't have to know all of them.
No,
You can
you can,
enjoy The
yeah.
Butler did it, even if you, it's better, I bet, if you know all of the different references they're doing. But if you have, it's just well written. It's sharp. There's good scenes.
Yeah,
I,
and like yeah, you can tell those references, but like every reference stands on its own.
yeah,
Like you don't need to
yeah,
know who Batwoman is or anything like that. It all
which
makes perfect
is
sense without it.
totally, which is not the case for the rest of it. They are not standalone. You need to know some of these things for it to make any sense.
Yeah.
The other one that I enjoyed was Submit, which is the story with Black Lightning.
Mm, yes.
And I was like, that's good. And the reason I liked it is because that was, again, that was when we moved to one of the realities, I guess. I
That,
don't
that,
know.
that
I
was like
started to lose track.
this is like prime reality. And also too, it's kind of annoying. It's like the first one in the like mind. Like we don't really get to, we don't see the world fall. It's like
Hmm.
it happens off screen.
It
This
just
is the
happens
first
off
one
screen.
after the world has fallen to dark side.
Yeah. But that's a really cool one. I like that Black Lightning he declares his name, then he uses electrical powers. I'm like, great. I have now been given the name and the information I need about
Yeah.
this character.
Black Lightning, one of the more literal characters out there.
Yeah. Also Tattoo Man.
Yeah.
Then I thought Tattoo Man's power was also super cool. Again, introduces himself and then you see what he does. And you're like, okay, I understand. They're presenting these the way that I need them to present them.
Yeah. And
Instead of
also
Mr. Miracle, I just found out was a new god. Instead, all I know is that he got into a time traveling car with Sumo Sunny and the new super young team
sure.
who, who are a Japanese based set of superheroes that defeated Mecha Yakuza after Rising Sun was on the news. Like
I literally, yeah.
stereotype.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that was the mess. But no, I liked Submit
Yeah.
with Black Lightning and
And honestly,
Tattoo Man.
and Tattoo Man is always something I kind of dig with whenever they have the event. It's like have a character who's like not that special, but in this like specific event is interesting because Tattoo
Hmm.
Man's idea is like he can make drawings real.
Yep.
So, and that's like kind of the whole idea with this whole event is like the
Hmm.
metafiction part of that. So, hey, it's like taking in more interesting, more obscure character and like this is why he is special.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, he's and then that he also has lots of questions like what is happening? He's meant to be sort of our
Yes,
we're
he is our
along with
cipher.
him. That's probably why I liked him a lot. I was like,
Yeah,
I can relate to you. You are also struggling to try and comprehend what is happening.
yeah.
Um, and so the multiple universes, why are there multiple universes in this?
So this is I think like an issue DC has. They're never going to have a good answer to because they like having both sides of the cake. Like they like having both options. Is DC wants to be in like one universe, so it all makes sense. But also DC likes to like do their like crazy what ifs and alternate takes on stuff. So they kind of need the alternate universes. And then for their big events, it's cool to have them cross over with the alternate universes.
Is it cool? I mean, this is something I was wondering. As someone that is much more immersed in this DC Comics culture, was this an enjoyable read for you? Was this something that you're like, whoa, I love
Actually, not
seeing this
really.
person and this person and this person?
Not really.
Yeah, you also
Like
like, man.
so I guess a little thought I was thinking while I was reading it. It was like if I wasn't trolling you, I should have just done Crisis on Infinite Earths. Because
That's
the first one, because it's a lot more like interesting on a DC or maybe Infinite Crisis might have been more
that's
interesting.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, don't feel like you need to do this again next
Don't
year.
worry.
I mean, but
I'll
hey,
find a different way to troll you next
a different way to, yeah,
next April.
next April. But that's yeah. Okay, so this was also hard. And so as someone that sort of had more of the references, was it because it was still confusing that it wasn't?
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. Well, like I'm no, I'm don't have as much issues when like the Ray shows up and it's like this is why its powers are important. It's like okay, I understand that part, but it's like when to me it's the issues is like the weird meta fiction vampire to be continued headstone
Hmm.
stuff. That's the stuff that makes me go like,
Oh, I forgot about that one.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that entire when you mentioned the Superman plot, I had fully suppressed it because I hated it so
Yeah.
much.
Well, like it took me like 4 days just to get through that first
The first part, because
first part. Once we were off Superman, I finished it in one sitting. But
yeah,
that first part is so
just
yeah.
want to bang your head against the wall because Superman, for some reason, is reincarnated in a giant metal Superman. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so ridiculous. But what an absolute just self-serving. But my goodness, is it ever overwhelming? I did have an inclination that this was perhaps not critically loved when
I believe that is correct.
when I went to, so like Spence mentioned, I actually got this digitally at the library, which was pretty cool. I took it out on loan digitally, and I found out they have a rating system, and this has like something like 245 ratings, and it has 3.5 stars. And so if you
Yeah.
have a 3.5 out of 5 on something that people are willfully taking out, it's a bad sign. It's
Yeah.
not a good sign for a public library. But, yeah,
Yeah.
as someone who doesn't understand most of these references, this was hard. This was a hard one. But there were the I just tried to hone in that I like Batman. Batman good.
Yeah. Batman good.
But
Honestly, yeah. And then Batman shooting Darkseid, kind of cool, you know.
not sure. If it was Batman shooting Darkseid, cool. If it was not a bullet that travels through time,
Yeah.
it has to be the time travel bullet is the element that makes it because
Yeah.
then you remember that Darkseid shot it through time
Yeah.
to just to
To kill
kill
Oron,
Orion.
who's his son
Yeah,
for the record. I don't think they even literally ever mentioned that in the
they
story,
did
but
not. That is
no.
news to me. That is brand new information. That's so funny. I had no idea. But
Yeah.
yeah, there was I'm not going to remember the exact quote, but I think it's at the end of the Batman story that they're essentially like, don't, if you underestimate him, there'll be no hiding place for evil.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that feels so good. Like that's so, what a great, cool ending to this story. And then the literal next page, it's Spider-Man on this spiral staircase with this random green alien, and there's planets like flying all around him. And I'm like, oh, there it goes. There goes our tight little Batman story into Superman with aliens and a bunch of different planets.
Yeah.
Off we go again.
Yeah,
Oh
get
man.
into like more metafictional device that can like warp reality to stories. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all over the place. Goodness gracious. So do you think there is someone who would enjoy that? Like, do you think that someone who loves DC is like, this is my favorite thing of all time?
There are people who there are people who think this is a masterpiece.
A
Um
masterpiece.
yeah, well it's if you like Grant Morrison's if you're in the Venn diagram of people who know literally everything about the DC
Right.
universe, I realize I'm probably close to into that diagram.
Hmm.
And then you also the other half of the Venn diagram you've got to be in is people who like Grant Morrison's weird meta narrative story stuff he does.
Hmm.
If you're in that exact middle, you will think this is great.
Hmm.
I am only in one half of that. I find
Yeah.
as much as I do like some of Grant Morrison's stuff, I do find it too. Honestly, I think it's like a universal case for comic book writers. They need someone to hold them back.
Hmm.
Grant Morrison is not an exception at all of that. He needs someone to hold him back and write like normal stories.
Yeah, someone needs to. Which is it seems like that is a running trend because we also said that about the guy that did Punisher,
Yes. Yeah.
uh,
Well, I
Garth
think it's super
Ennis.
common. Yeah. Garth Ennis, absolutely. Frank Miller, no question.
You need someone to
Alan
make you
Moore,
chill out.
like Alan Moore, yes.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Apparently, these big
Yeah.
comic book authors, they
Yeah.
just need
Honestly,
someone to make them chill.
I have a hard time thinking of someone who doesn't need to like get held back a little bit. Scott Snyder, maybe he mostly seems to like know make stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so funny. He maybe can do it. Man, yeah, this he goes off the leash. And so you were talking about it being meta, and you were calling it, is the metaverse a different multiple universe? Wait, no, the metaverse was that's the Facebook thing.
Yeah, but also metaverse is also the name for like collective unconscious of humanity, which is the idea.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
okay, so it's like, oh God, here we go. The DC universe, the idea is like within the DC universe is within like the metaverse of DC comics. So like there's the DC universe, but
Yeah.
like we are reading a comic book
Uh-huh.
about the DC universe. The metaverse is us reading that comic book. And Grant
Yeah.
Morrison likes to like write within the context of we are reading a comic book and here's a story about us reading a comic book kind of thing.
Okay. I did not catch that when I
Well,
was
because it's
reading
actually
this.
not as like pronounced in like it's part of the ideas of this, but it's not like super pronounced in it.
Got it. Okay, and that's when you were talking about that Mandrake eats stories
Yeah,
was
exactly.
part of it, and the to be continued written on the tombstone.
Yeah.
To be continued being a reference to stories. Okay,
Yeah.
I can lightly get it. So do
Yeah.
you think
Honestly, I only lightly get it too. I don't entirely understand what's going on either.
okay. And I was good. So then do you think that is there anything beyond just the events that are unfolding that is being done here? Or is this literally just we need you to try and wrap up this era of the DC comics? Good luck. Or do you think that Grant Morrison is trying to be like, here's something cool to think
Yeah, no,
about?
I think this is Grant Morrison's like magnum opus. Like not his actual magnum opus, but like Grant Morrison wanted to write this.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is not someone throwing this is not like some poor writer who was thrown like here wrap all these up to make something coherent out of it. This was like Grant Morrison. This was a passion project for Grant Morrison.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And apparently his passion is not doing anything super in depth. It's doing a million things at the surface level and having a lot of fun
So
in
yeah,
his way.
yeah, because Grant Morrison loves the like 60s zaniness that comic books has.
Yeah. Because it does seem like he's having fun. So I'm glad he had fun writing this.
Yes.
So then yeah. I mean, is
Yeah,
there
because
anything
like so one of Grant Morrison's first stories was like called Animal Man, and part of the thing was like Animal Man was like pre-did Deadpool, where like Animal Man knew he was in a comic book.
oh man, he was
He
metagaming
was
it
always from the beginning.
the whole time.
Yeah.
Yikers. So then I'm trying to wrap this up so that I never have to think about this again. Is there clearly we've kind of gone at this, but I appreciated that you did point out who would be able to enjoy this.
Yes.
Is this something that like even for that cohort of people, is this the best? They already know this is.
Yeah, well, yeah. So honestly, it's
They
kind of thing
know
like
this is here.
I would recommend no one look for Final Crisis. I think what happened, the optimal way for Final Crisis is to just like have heard about it so much that you
Hmm.
decide it's interesting to read.
Yeah,
Like
I
because you're
think
already
that's
so deep into all of this, it's like I shall read my Final Crisis now. It is because that's basically how I read it for the first time.
yeah,
Was I'd heard
that
about it so
makes
much, and it was like, sure, we'll read Final Crisis.
that makes sense to me. This is the kind of thing that you need to naturally end up working towards and finding.
Yeah.
And God help you if you happen to come across Final Crisis too early as you're starting to explore comics.
Yeah. Your like
Because
second
it
comic
could,
you read.
that would absolutely be a deterrent to continuing.
Yeah.
But I think that's right. Yeah, we didn't wouldn't be this is for some specific people, but it is not recommended for anyone because the people that it's for will find it themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's a unique recommendation. I don't know if I've ever recommended something like that before, but I think that's like literally the best thing we can do.
Yeah.
So take from that what you will when it comes to Final Crisis. But moving into the second part of
No,
our
no, no.
show.
I want to talk about one final thing.
Okay, go for it.
Before we move on, I want to
Yeah.
talk about Countdown to Final Crisis,
Oh no,
which
I didn't have to
is
count down at least.
no, you didn't experience this. Honestly, I haven't read it in like I finished reading it during the pandemic because that was how hard it is. Countdown to Final Crisis is pretty much considered to be like the worst comic book of all time.
Really?
Yes, it is
By who?
all like whenever there's like comic book sites make like what are the worst comics of all time? Countdown for Final Crisis is like always in the top 25.
Yeah.
Because it is terrible. It's even hard to. So it's 52 issues long. It was
That's
released.
long.
It was released weekly for an entire year. Do you remember? This is something you read when you were a teenager called 52.
This is different than the new 52?
No, just called 52. You did read this one of the. This was at one point one of your favorite comic books of all time.
Really? Okay,
Yeah,
I'll take your word for it.
yeah. So 52. It was like a really cool series. That was like 52 issues. They were released for a week, like once a week, every week for a year for the DC universe. It's a really cool story. That's like, here's what happened in a year, and like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman aren't there. It's about all the other characters. Very cool story. Honestly, one of the coolest comic books ever written.
Oh, wait, I do remember this. Wait,
Yeah.
this is different than the new 52?
No, no, yeah. New 52 was a different thing that happened like 5 years later.
Oh my gosh, that's so. Why 52?
They like that number, I guess. There's also 52 universes in the DC universe.
Okay. No, I do remember 50. I remember too because it was revolved around the death of the Flash's wife and the mystery of who murdered her.
That's Identity Crisis. That's a different one.
Oh man. Okay.
It's at elongated man's wife.
Oh, there you go. Okay. My bad.
But yes. Yeah. 52. Very cool thing.
52. Yeah.
Yeah. Countdown to Final Crisis is like, that was super popular and super liked. Let's do that again. And we'll make Countdown to Final Crisis. The problem is Countdown to Final Crisis is terrible. And the big kicker about all of it is Grant Morrison was like, wow, this is terrible. I'm going to ignore every single thing you set up in this and write my own thing. So not only is Countdown to Final Crisis unreadably terrible, it also has nothing to do with Final Crisis. So yeah, one of the worst
That's
comics ever
really
written.
funny.
I just feel honestly, of all my like nerd crew things, I have read the entirety of Countdown to Final Crisis.
And you felt like you needed to take
I
a
felt like I
moment
need to brag about. I'm never going to have another chance to brag about it, so here we go.
There you go. Yeah, it's important to find that platform and to be able to. Yeah, there you go. It has to be worth something. It has to mean something.
Exactly.
For something this bad, it has to mean something.
Like I remember I had like the pile of comics next to my bed for like 3 years, and every time I tried to read it, I'd be like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. And it took the pandemic when I had all the time, and it's like,
Yeah,
I'm running out of comic books to read.
That's so
Okay,
funny.
we got like 23 issues of Countdown to Final Crisis left. Let's go.
Just work through it, and now
Yeah.
you can say proudly that it does indeed suck.
Yes, it does. When I started, I did not realize how bad it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like I found a thing like, ooh, all 52 issues of Countdown to Final Crisis for $20. Cool.
Yeah, that's so funny that it's fully unrelated to Final Crisis.
Yeah.
What we just read. It is also very funny. I did Google Countdown to Final Crisis.
Yeah.
The second link, the first one is the Wikipedia page. The second one is a Reddit thread titled "Why Do People Hate Countdown to Final Crisis?" Yeah, clearly, that is the general consensus. That's very funny. Okay, good to know. I will avoid the Countdown to Final Crisis because it will not help. I mean, that's even all the more reason not to recommend this to people because they would assume they should read Countdown to Final Crisis to prepare for Final Crisis. But that is not the case. Well, I assume you must have picked up something from that helped you with understanding this, but
no, not at all. Other than I guess like some of like the here are new gods, but also like not anywhere.
Yeah,
I think it matters.
A warning, if anything.
Yeah.
My goodness. Well, I appreciate you throwing that in there at the end. Wow. So then moving away from this, finally, and instead talking about in our second half of the show, different crossover events of the I mean, you've already given a shout out to some other ones here already, but what are some crossover events that we would recommend that are worth checking out?
Okay, I think the number one crossover event that everyone should experience, no matter even how event crossover series people should know, no matter how much you know any of the things, is of course Super Smash Brothers. I think that is pretty definitively the greatest crossover of all time.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say as well. I think just in general, video games are the best crossover format because you don't really need to know anything about the character original story when you can just enjoy them in the new context and that they actually are exciting. So like I was thinking about even something like Soul Calibur 2
Oh
had
yeah.
Link, and like that's so cool.
Yeah.
And
The best kind of crossover will make you interested in whatever in the things you don't know about yet,
yeah,
which I think
exactly.
Smash Brothers does in spades. I remember how young I was when I first played Smash Brothers. I think I had heard of like 4 of the 12 characters, but it made
Mm,
me want to know who Link was, which I guess should
hmm
just tell you how young I was when I first played Super Smash Brothers. It made me
Yeah.
want to know who Kirby was. It made me want to know who Samus was.
hmm Yeah. The ultimate crossover is the Super Smash Brothers
Yeah,
games, or really there's a bunch of different like video games in general with crossovers. They have their moments and their
yeah, or yeah, or
that's just the best one.
yeah,
But there are
the Fire Emblem characters. That was like the big one in Super Smash Bros.
there
Melee because
and
they had
there's
never been
more.
released in North America before that. But then,
Yeah.
yeah,
Of course, there's also all the Marvel does a decent job, question mark, of their, I mean, it's starting to get too dense. But when you think about something like the original Avengers movie, that was
yes,
really well done.
yes. I realized you were talking about the MCU here. I was about to say Marvel comics have as many tend to have as about as
Yeah,
much
no, no,
issues as
no.
the DC ones do.
This is the MCU. No,
Yeah,
I'm talking about the original
yes,
Avengers movie where I
yeah.
think that that's
Early, like yeah, MCU to like and end games that like very interesting. Yeah, it takes a lot of reading, but or lots of
mhm,
background, but it's still manageable because that's the big thing about the MCU, which they lost, is like
mhm.
people would complain about how much like backup you need to have done for it. But at the end of the day, it was 2 movies a year, 3 if they were releasing a Spider-Man movie. That's not that hard to follow.
Yeah. No. The I think that's a big part of why Avengers Endgame was so successful was that it was easy enough to have watched the stuff leading up to that, and the stuff
Yeah.
leading up to that was good,
Yes.
that even if you had missed like a movie or two, you kind of understood
Yeah.
who the character was, and they
If you
had
missed,
introductions as well.
yeah, like if you missed Ant-Man and the Wasp, it was still pretty straight. Like you
Yeah,
got what you needed about Ant-Man like
exactly.
quickly enough.
So like kudos to them for being able to have such a tight story. And that's also, I'm sure nothing will sort of, I mean, never say never, but Avengers Endgame was certainly a cultural moment, I think,
Yes.
for good reason and well deserved, as well as really a way of showing the way to have a grand culmination that
Yeah.
isn't overwhelming Grant.
Yeah. Well, it's like honestly, I think you might be right about like I don't never say never, but
Mhm.
nothing we have now will is like leading towards something of Endgame's
No,
cultural
yeah,
relevancy.
yeah, it'll be. I think it was really one of those capturing lightning in a bottle with the resurgence of superheroes in film, and then it became super oversaturated.
Yeah.
And
And
now
it was
no
like,
one wants to watch like 5 movies in order to understand the last
oh God,
one.
I'm gonna watch Doomsday. Like, obviously, I wrote a comic book short. There's no way I'm not gonna end
Mm,
up watching Doomsday. But I'm not looking for I am
yeah,
yeah. I'm not like I was like
interesting.
giddy for those like Endgame, Infinity War,
Yeah,
all of those. I am just like ugh, for
I'm so tired of. Isn't that great? Yeah, the
for
burnout. The
Doomsday.
burnout's real. It's
Yeah.
crazy how long it's lasted as well, because those movies have come out a while ago, but
It's
the burnout
pre-COVID.
is.
That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
Endgame came out before COVID.
Mhm. Yeah, that's just the burnout that we all experienced. I think it was because it was such a good Infinity. What was it? It was
Infinity
Endgame
War into
and
Endgame. So
yeah,
Infinity War was the first one, Endgame was the second
it
one.
was just such a good closure that it
Yeah.
felt like, okay, we're done now. We don't have to do superheroes anymore.
Yeah, that is the interesting thing. And then immediately after was like they could have just hit the brakes for like 3 years because COVID
Mhm.
was right afterwards.
Yeah,
But
but
no,
no, gotta pump out that
got to have
money.
One Division
There you
and
go.
Loki and
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, some of those are, I appreciate
I
the
don't know.
TV series stuff. I think it's the movie things, but
I don't know. Well, I think part of the issue is having people watch the TV shows makes things a lot harder to keep up with
that's
because
true.
a
And
TV
those
show
are
is
also reliant on you knowing the other content.
yeah,
Yeah. Boo. Okay, that's true. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to kind of recommend Avengers Endgame because everyone's seen it.
yeah.
But
That's honestly like a much similar. Like if you've probably already seen Avengers Endgame and like you're naturally gonna go watch Iron Man 1 and you'll eventually end up watching Avengers Endgame.
yeah, exactly. I can give a warning of something I tried to watch
Oh,
in leading up to this, just out of curiosity, because Final Crisis does not have a film version. But you know it does have an animated film version?
What?
Crisis of Infinite Earths.
Oh, there you go. The original one.
Yeah, because which you mentioned, but it is animated,
Yep.
and the first film is called Crisis of Infinite Earths, Part One of Three.
Mm.
So I went, oh no. And that's how I knew it was going to be a bad time. It's it's hard. I was surprised. I knew a lot about DC and not actually that much. I thought I did. I didn't understand what was going on again. It was the same issue.
Oh,
Just going too fast. The pacing is brutal. I didn't understand what was happening. It was also really boring. And again, the Flash in his freaking time travel makes me so mad. I just want him to be fast. I don't want him to be able to travel through time because then you get into time travel issues. But I guess once you give him the power, that's what he can do.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe we'll do Absolute Flash at some point. You'll probably like that more.
Maybe could be, but yeah. If you're thinking, hey, the Final Crisis isn't for me, maybe I should try watching Crisis of Infinite Earths. It wasn't good. It's
Yeah.
not a recommendation.
I don't know. Read it. Actually made me think. If I had to recommend a DC Comics crossover event,
Hmm.
which one would I pick?
Yeah.
Hmm. Makes it harder. I think I'd go with Infinite Crisis. Might be the most interesting one.
Hmm.
It's
And
not
this
the
is
best.
different than Crisis of Infinite
Crisis,
Earth.
yeah. So Crisis on Infinite Earth, the '85 one. Infinite Crisis, the 2006 one.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have to have a crossover in DC, well, maybe just do like the Batman v Superman or
Yeah,
like Batman versus
world's
Predator or
finest
something.
Batman, Superman, or honestly, just read a Justice League comic.
Oh yeah,
That's
duh.
probably your best bet.
Yeah, that's your best way to do it. If you if
Go
you
read the Justice League fights the White Martians or something. That'll be
yeah,
fun.
or check out the KO one that you're doing.
DTCKO.
DCK, yeah, that's
Yeah,
a successful crossover.
yeah, sort of. It dropped the ball at the end.
Oh no,
Yeah,
bummer.
because it set it up so cool, and then it ends with Superman punching Darkseid. We've had Superman has punched Darkseid so many times.
Oh, I remember you talking about it at the start that
Yeah, because
wasn't what was going to
it was super
happen.
hyped, and then it like get to the end, it's like
It's the
all the
same thing
cool.
again.
Yeah,
Everyone
it
has
looks
new
like we were
powers,
going.
make it different.
Yeah, I was like, okay, but even by like round, like the third round, I was like, okay, Zatanna. I think Zatanna's gonna like if Zatanna wins this thing, it'll be like interesting. And it's like, no, Superman
No,
punches
it's just gonna be
Darkseid.
Superman again.
Yeah,
Oh, well, that's lame.
yeah,
They just can't help themselves.
yeah.
The last thing I want to mention, because we mentioned Flash and his time travel, and it's too funny. I have a kid's book of different little DC superhero stories, and one of them has dinosaurs. And the Flash gets defeated because a pterodactyl picks him up, so he can't run anywhere. And I was like, I love how there's the degree to where I don't want him to time travel. Then there's the degree to the idea that Flash can only move his feet quickly. And I
Yeah.
love that. Of
I
course, you fools, the whole time you could have
yeah,
just lifted him off his feet. Then he can't do anything.
yeah. Honestly, I love like children's DC entertainment.
It's so incredibly lazy. It's so funny.
Yeah. Do you know I own a copy of the Super Dictionary?
I did not know that.
Do you know what that? Do you know the Super Dictionary?
Uh, is it? No, it's different than the very. I've been thinking about that. We used to have that giant tome that had all the
Yeah.
DC superheroes
Okay,
at
no,
the
that was
time.
just a cool thing. But no, the Super Dictionary is like a book from like the 1970s, and it's where where the line Lex Luthor stole 40 cakes. That's what's I should get the entire. I must have word for word. Uh, yeah. When no one was looking, Lex Luthor took 40 cakes. He took 40 cakes. That's as many as four tens, and that's terrible.
And that's And that's a meme, I
That's
assume.
oh that's like an old school meme. And
That's
it's
an
just full of like it
old.
has that like really weird way of talking where like the first sentence will say something, the second sentence will like explain what was just said, and then the third sentence will um like add to that.
Yeah, add on it. That's
So it's
so
like,
funny.
yeah, Superman.
When no one was looking, Lex Luthor took 40 cakes. He took 40 cakes,
Yeah.
as many as four tens, and that's terrible.
Yeah, Superman, what are you doing with the giant teaspoon? What are you doing with that giant eating tool? I'm taking it to a giant who has no teaspoons.
Oh my gosh. Okay, clearly the super dictionary should be our next long comic. My
Yeah, they need
goodness,
to
I'm
reprint it
so
because yeah, I
entertained.
own like I found we got lucky at a garage sale. I found someone just selling their old super
That's so
dictionary.
funny. Love that. My goodness. All right. So I'd say we're winding down towards the
Yeah.
end of the episode, but of course, we need to introduce what's next on the reading docket. So, Spence, what do the fine folks at home and I get to look forward to reading next?
Okay. Well, I just put you through the ringer. So let's just do something I think you'll love because it is just straight up my favorite manga series of all time.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're gonna do the first volume of 20th Century Boys.
What? 20th century book. I haven't heard of this. I also didn't know this was your favorite thing.
Yes.
Cool. 20th Century Boys, first volume.
Yeah, well, first two volumes because like all these things they come in two packs now.
Got it. Okay, cool. First
Yeah.
two volumes of the 20th Century Boys. This is a Japanese manga series.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah,
So,
it's by so you ever watched Pluto or Monster?
no, neither of them.
Okay, yes, because it's by Naoki Urasawa, who did both of those. And he is like he has a very unique style and he is generally considered like one of the greatest manga writers, mangakas of all time.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm excited to read this and then absolutely come down on your favorite thing.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what you like.
We'll see. But of course, you can order 20th Century Boys at VesperiaComics.com for pickup at Vesperia Manga and Comics if you're in the lower mainland of beautiful British Columbia, or you can also order it for Canada wide shipping. And that's it for episode 33 of the Long Comics Book Club. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to follow the show on your preferred podcast platform, as well as Long Comics Book Club on Blue Sky and Instagram. And we also do have a Discord if you want to check that out through our link tree as well and share your thoughts on anything we talked about today, whether that is Final Crisis because you love it and you
Yeah.
think we're
Tell
wrong. It's
us.
so simple.
I want to hear the people who love it.
You want to hear, yeah, who are you? Who are you and why? So jump on our Discord. Let us know or get in the comments on one of the posts that we have available on one of our social media platforms. And also get in there and share some thoughts on 20th Century Boys in advance of the next podcast episode that is going to be coming out on April 11th. And of course, we will look forward to being back with you then. Bye bye.
See ya.